Not great news.
Caitlin Clark,
one of the key players,
will be out a minimum of 2 weeks
with a quadriceps.
That stinks for the Fever, obviously. That stinks for our city.
We don't know how bad it is.
That sucks for everybody.
Everything just changed. Right now, Pat McAfee is going absolutely viral after dropping a bombshell about Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark will be out for at least 2 weeks.
Caitlin Clark has suffered a left quadriceps strain and will be out a minimum of 2 weeks.
That also stinks for the WNBA as a whole.
And it's the kind of truth the WNBA can't ignore anymore. McAfee didn't hold back. He called it like it is. Caitlin Clark is the draw, the face, and the future of the league.
Caitlin Clark is the needle mover.
She is the needle mover.
She is the franchise player.
And she was the MVP.
She is the main draw.
She wasn't the one who was full sprinting down the court.
Her absence is more than just an injury. It's exposing the reality the league doesn't want to face.
Christine Brennan, she said, "This is such unfortunate news for Caitlin Clark, of course, and the Fever. It's also terrible news for the WNBA, which relies on Clark for so much attendance, viewership, social media, merchandise, in a way no sports league has ever before. I've asked the WNBA for comment."
From crashing ticket sales to fans turning away, we're about to show you how one superstar carries an entire league on her shoulders, and why the world is finally waking up to her unmatched impact. If you're 100% behind Caitlin Clark, drop a 100% for Caitlin in the comments right now. Let's show her the love she deserves.
It is undeniable that Caitlin Clark is the engine.
Caitlin Clark effect. There has been so much of an influx in attendance, in jersey sales, and viewership, all the things.
That's about star power, narrative, and likability.
Caitlin Clark comes into the WNBA. Goes through college. She has panache. She has style.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
Yeah, she's so good at basketball.
Just moments ago, Pat McAfee lit the internet on fire with one explosive truth bomb, and it's making waves across the basketball world. Sitting on his show with his signature energy, McAfee looked straight into the camera and made it crystal clear. Caitlin Clark is the needle mover, the Indiana Fever are the draw, and without her, everything changes.
Caitlin Clark will be out for at least 2 weeks. She has a quad strain that has been bugging her since training camp. Caitlin Clark is the needle mover. The Indiana Fever are the draw. They're going to be without CC for at least a couple weeks as she rests and tries to heal up a quad strain. That sucks for everybody.
That clip, it's already being shared thousands of times per minute. This isn't just a hot take. McAfee is voicing what millions of fans have been thinking, but no one in the league dared to say out loud. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player, she's the reason people are watching. The moment she was ruled out with a left quad strain, ticket prices dropped a jaw-dropping 42%, and the buzz that surrounded every Fever game started to fade.
Indiana Fever tickets have dropped 42% for the games in the next 2 weeks. Unfortunately, people deciding to not watch the game anymore because Caitlin Clark was the reason.
He didn't stop there. Pat openly admitted that this injury doesn't just hurt Indiana, it hurts the entire WNBA.
Chloe Peterson said Caitlin Clark's left quad strain is a new injury, I'm told. It is not related to her left quad injury from training camp that forced her to miss the preseason opener.
It stinks for the Fever, it stinks for our city, and it stinks for the league, he said. And the numbers are backing him up. With Clark sidelined, arenas that were selling out just days before are now seeing empty seats. The viral footage of jam-packed stands, gone.
The Caitlin Clark effect is going to be tabled, and we're going to find out what kind of ratings and attendance we see for the Indiana Fever in her absence. One thing I can tell you is that ticket scalpers are taking a beating.
And here's where it gets even more real. McAfee said this moment is the litmus test.
This will be the litmus test for the WNBA. We'll end the conversation once and for all. Like if the Fever go out and the ratings aren't the same because she's not playing, then it's a pretty clear indication. Like you said, like she is the needle mover, she is the main draw.
A full-blown reality check for the WNBA. For months, the narrative was that the league is more than just Caitlin Clark. But now, with her out, we're about to see if the hype can survive without her. And if it can't, the league will have no choice but to admit Caitlin Clark is the WNBA right now. McAfee's raw honesty is why his words are spreading like wildfire. He said what the fans already knew, but the league kept dodging.
It is unfortunate that she did go down with an injury. I think this is such a big deal because of the weight that she has, the weight that she carries on her shoulders for the success of the WNBA, or much of it, many of the viewership, much of the ratings, attendance in the arena.
Also seeing a lot of fans saying that they are just not going to watch, they're not going to go to the games, they're going to sell their tickets because Caitlin isn't playing.
Caitlin Clark is the most valuable person in women's basketball. Period. If there was ever any doubt about Caitlin Clark's value to the WNBA, her absence has made the truth impossible to ignore. Pat McAfee's viral statement wasn't just emotional, it was backed by reality. And now we're diving into the cold, hard numbers that prove Caitlin Clark isn't just the most important player in the league, she's the engine driving the entire machine. Let's start with her stats. Caitlin Clark is averaging 19 points per game, 9.3 assists, and 6 rebounds.
She averages 19 points, 9.3 assists, and 6 rebounds a game, and nobody even comes close to the assists.
And those are rookie numbers. Her 9.3 assists per game don't just lead her team, they leave the rest of the WNBA in the dust. Nobody even comes close. Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston, two of the Fever's best players, average just 2.3 assists each. Think about that. Clark is responsible for generating almost every single offensive movement the team has. She's not just scoring.
She looks like a varsity player going against JV. She had 5 rebounds in 19 seconds.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
5 rebounds in 19 seconds. I know everybody's saying, like, you shouldn't be able to do that, you're whatever the case. But imagine if she starts putting those in. I mean, that's going to be, she's potentially getting 40-40.
Mike and Drew. Yeah.
She's making everyone around her better. That's not speculation. That's visible on tape. Watch Aaliyah Boston's plays. A huge portion of her baskets come directly off assists from Clark. When Caitlin's on the floor, it's like the entire team suddenly finds rhythm. The ball moves faster, the spacing improves, defenses get stretched. She controls the tempo. She's not just a point guard, she's the floor general, the playmaker, and the emotional leader. And yet, it's not just the Indiana Fever that feel her impact. Caitlin Clark's presence has single-handedly reshaped WNBA viewership, ticket sales, and merchandise numbers. Christine Brennan said it best. The WNBA relies on Clark for everything. Social media traffic skyrocketed. Jersey sales dominated by number 22. And TV ratings, get this.
The jerseys, the number 22, the various styles, whether it's a t-shirt with 22, whether it's an Iowa jersey, whether it's a Fever jersey, a throwback, I mean, whatever. The amount of people in yellow 22 apparel is stunning.
All of the top 20 most watched WNBA games this season have one thing in common. Caitlin Clark was playing in them. So what happened the moment her injury was announced? Ticket sales dropped by 42%. Instantly. Games that were about to sell out now have rows of empty seats. One game in particular, the Fever versus Sky in Chicago, was projected to break WNBA history with over 20,000 fans.
The United Center game that they're playing with the Chicago Sky was supposed to be over 20,000 people in attendance, was supposed to be the most attended WNBA game in history.
But after the injury news, that game is now up in the air, with the buzz fizzling fast. Even the Fever's offensive ranking is feeling the heat. With Clark, Indiana ranked number 3 in total offense in the league.
Indiana Fever are ranked number 3 in offense in the league.
Without her, the team struggles to maintain pace, spacing, and ball movement. Coach Stephanie White is now juggling lineups, experimenting with veteran Sid Colson at point guard, and saving Sophie Cunningham as a backup spark. But no one can replicate what Clark brings. It's not even close.
Steph White did tell the media that in Caitlin Clark's stead, she will be starting Sydney Colson at the point.
This is as trying to figure out new rotations, who's going to run point. Have you kind of nailed that down yet ahead of tomorrow? Yeah, we're going to start Sydney point tomorrow. We're going to give that a look. Sophie's going to get a heavy dose of it as well. The other thing that we love is what Sophie and or Lexi, whichever one, brings us from the bench and having that spark, having that punch. So we're gonna look at Sid in that starting lineup to start.
Let's also talk about the psychological effect. Caitlin's absence is more than numbers. It's a gut punch to momentum. The team looks different. The energy shifts. The national spotlight dims. Clark isn't just a player. She's the storyline, the highlight reel, the draw. She's the reason ESPN talks about the WNBA during primetime. McAfee saw it, Christine Brennan reported it, and fans feel it. The WNBA's meteoric rise this season has a name behind it, and it's Caitlin Clark. When Caitlin Clark went down with a left quad strain, the immediate shock wasn't just about her missing a few games. It became a moment of reckoning for the entire WNBA. Because suddenly the league had to confront a reality it wasn't prepared to face. What does the WNBA look like without Caitlin Clark? And the answer came fast, loud, and clear. It's not the same, not even close. Let's start with the team itself, the Indiana Fever. Coach Stephanie White, in her media session following Clark's injury, gave us a glimpse into the magnitude of her absence. She said, "We're treating her like a franchise player because she is one."
You know, there's so many things when you think about Caitlin and her not wanting to miss games. Obviously, she's a competitor, wants to play. Obviously, everyone wants to watch her play. But for me, it's maintaining perspective, right? It's making sure that we address this in a way that doesn't affect long term. That we take care of it. Don't over push. Don't overexert. Making sure that we take the long game approach to this, so that we're not having lingering issues throughout the course of the season. And I'm glad that sometimes great players don't tell you when they're hurting. I'm glad that she did, because we need to nip this in.
That's not something you hear often in the WNBA. But with Clark, it's warranted. The Fever's entire offensive identity revolves around her. Her vision, her tempo, her range, and her leadership. Removing her from the rotation isn't a minor change. It's a full-blown identity crisis. The Fever scrambled to respond. Veteran Sid Coulson was named the starter at point guard.
Sid Coulson, she has not had any minutes. She has not had a lot of court presence this season, but she does have a lot of veteran experience at the point.
Coulson has barely logged minutes this season, but Stephanie White leaned on her veteran calm. Still, nobody expects Coulson to mirror Clark's production. That's not an insult. It's just the truth. Then there's Sophie Cunningham, who stepped up in the preseason when Clark sat out. She'll now serve as a bench spark, expected to bring energy and scoring. But even her breakout moments only highlight what's missing, the floor general who made it all flow. And here's the kicker. And even with these adjustments, the game plan is still built around Caitlin Clark's return. That's how irreplaceable she is. White is trying to keep rotations intact so that once Clark is back, the team doesn't have to rebuild chemistry from scratch. This isn't a typical injury fill-in situation. It's damage control until the star returns.
But it seems like this is something in her left quad and her left leg, that she has been dealing with something, but the Indiana Fever have said that she will be out a minimum of 2 weeks.
But it's not just about X's and O's. The media response to her absence has made one thing glaringly obvious. Caitlin Clark is the heartbeat of this league. Analysts, sports radio hosts, and former athletes are echoing the same message. This is a test for the WNBA, and right now, they're failing it. Pat McAfee called it the litmus test. Others, like Dan Dakich, said the WNBA is finally learning what it means to lose a true superstar. He even compared her cultural presence to Peyton Manning during his Colts prime, saying he's never seen more number 22 jerseys in Indiana, even during Manning's peak NFL years.
She's the face of the league. Agreed.
I love watching her score and just everything about her.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
It's also revealing how little room for error the WNBA has when it comes to fan loyalty. The second Clark's injury went public, thousands of fans started canceling their tickets, listing them on resale sites, and promising to skip games. It's brutal, but it's real. And for a league that's been fighting for mainstream attention for decades, it's a brutal reminder that Clark isn't just a rookie. She's the league's golden goose. Even marketing decisions are suffering. Games that were moved to bigger venues just to accommodate Caitlin Clark's crowd-pulling power are now underperforming in sales. Social media engagement has dropped. Jersey sales cooled. Broadcast teams are scrambling to repackage matchups that were supposed to be built around Caitlin. And while this might seem like a setback, it's actually a massive validation of her impact. Because in her absence, we now see her full weight. Her value isn't just her shooting range, her passing, or her court IQ. It's her magnetic force. She draws cameras, She fills seats. She sells out arenas.
The arenas have been moved on away games to the massive stadium, so you wonder if, those screenshots, you talk about the litmus test, the screenshots from those arenas without Caitlin Clark now might be very, very bad, but it is a bummer. She was, going to win the MVP. Still might, that's not out of the question at all, but she was the betting favorite.
She trends online every night, and the moment she's gone, the WNBA starts to feel quiet. Meanwhile, fans have noticed that even her struggles in recent games were tied to injury.
I will say that I noticed in the last couple games, because I feel like the last 2 games she did not play well. She might have done well statistically, although she didn't shoot well from 3. And I know a lot of people were wondering, why is she in this shooting slump? It seems like now we know. A lot of you guys, when we were in the live watch parties, a lot of you were commenting that she was sick. You could hear it in her voice that she was sick. It seems like at this point, this is the reason why we haven't seen Caitlin at 100%. We haven't seen her as quick as we saw her last season.
The transcripts reveal she was seen using heating pads on her leg, rubbing her quad on the bench, and moving slower on fast breaks. What looked like a shooting slump was actually her fighting through pain.
Now, there have also been some videos going around online where Caitlin has been using like heating packs and ice packs on her legs, not ice packs, but heating packs during the game. And there's also been clips where she's on the bench and she's kind of rubbing her leg. And so it seems like there have been multiple occasions where it had been bothering her and nobody just knew to what extent that was.
That adds even more respect to what she's already accomplished. She wasn't just showing up, she was battling injury, pushing through it, and still carrying a franchise on her back. And don't overlook the psychological side. This isn't just a break in momentum, it's a learning opportunity. When Clark was sidelined during preseason, she said it gave her a new perspective.
That's nice.
And she was shooting the shit out of it.
Of course she was.
Right, so she was shooting the shit out of it. And
she's the face of the league.
Agreed.
Just have nothing but great things to say about who she is as a person. She's so welcoming and so warm as an individual that she can have a conversation with anybody. She's cut from the same cloth as me in that regard. You know what? Us Midwesterners, we tend to just, accept everybody with open arms. She was so kind to my family and everyone in the suite when she came to KC. So huge fans of Caitlin Clark.
A chance to see the game from a coach's lens. Now she's getting that again. And when she comes back, she'll be even sharper, mentally tougher, and more prepared to lead, not just the Fever, but the entire WNBA into a new era. Because here's the truth. Caitlin Clark doesn't disappear when she's off the court. She still headlines every debate, anchors every highlight reel, and dominates every conversation. That's power. That's presence. And that's why, even while injured, she remains the face of the WNBA.
I didn't plan to shoot that logo 3. I know coming into the game, everybody wanted me to shoot one from there. But Steph was like, was supposed to come out at the end of the third, so she's like, give a foul, give a foul, give a foul. And then it was 30 seconds on the clock, which between 30 to 33, that's like your 2-for-1 range where you have to get one up. So I saw 30 as we're inbounding the ball, which probably is inbounding the ball at 30, probably a little low. But I was like, why not?
So now you've seen it for yourself. Pat McAfee said what everyone else was afraid to say, and the numbers, reactions, and reality all back him up. Caitlin Clark isn't just a rising star. She's the gravitational force pulling the entire WNBA forward. Her absence has exposed just how vital she is to the Fever, to the fans, and to the future of women's basketball. But make no mistake, this is just a chapter. The comeback is coming, and when Caitlin Clark steps back on that court, the noise will be louder, the lights will be brighter, and the entire sports world will be watching. Because legends aren't defined by the moments they play. They're defined by the silence that follows when they're gone.
Caitlin Clark is Indiana Fever's leading scorer at over 19 points a game. Caitlin Clark is undeniably the offensive engine.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
Yeah, she's so good at basketball.
Because she's that awesome person and she has like a lot of aura, so like...
Cannot deny the impact that she's made on this sport.
If you believe in Caitlin Clark, if you're riding with her no matter what, flood the comments right now with 100% for Caitlin. Let her know the fans haven't gone anywhere. And if you found this video powerful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Because this is more than basketball. This is about a movement, and Caitlin Clark is leading it. We'll keep you updated. Until then, stay loud, stay loyal, and stay 100% for Caitlin.